I'd like to take this opportunity to double down. This is a non-negotiable subject matter. It's a topic that isn't up for dispute or debate, certainly in my, regard. Now, you guys may have excuse me, after that previous video that I did talking about that flag that says protect trans kids or something of that nature in the Spider-Verse movie. Of course, anytime you talk about a subject like this, you get these weirdos, typical cartoon sort of avatars, pronouns in the bio type of stuff. Many of them furries. It's the same kind of weirdos that will, of course, rage or post because that's kind of what they exist to sort of do. And again, wanting to take the opportunity to double down. Now, you're getting a couple of just to scroll and you look on Twitter, you see my post, people just saying some just insane stuff. You got some people, of course, doubling down themselves, saying trans kids, of course, do exist. And then some, which is what I want to highlight today, even lying, acting as if this whole child mutilation thing isn't going on. That's the part that's non-negotiable. Now, you have these folks that are trying to almost repurpose sort of these terms to make them mean different things. Now, according to them, or you have two different sides of this. You'll see people that say things like, well, trans is like they can just be that, right? It doesn't require any sort of a transitionary sort of period. And on the other hand, you have folks that are just saying that this sort of stuff that I am talking about regarding the mutilation of children isn't even taking place. It's not even a thing. Now, of course, it's a thing. We, for example, when I was, we had her actually on the show, and this is why it matters. Chloe Cole, who had top surgery at 15 was her age. It's obviously a minor, right? There's been plenty of documentation of those types of surgeries being done by many children, people under the age of 18. The fact that you guys, and this is the narcissism that's involved in this. I want you guys to understand this is part of these, you call them ideologues, very socially driven, agenda driven folks, which you can argue that many people are, regardless of what side they are. But they have a certain bit of narcissism about them that they use young people to try to validate their own existence. This is why they push so much for this sort of idea. Now, 10 years ago, this wasn't a discussion. I said this in the last video. You could imagine telling someone, hey, at some point they're going to advocate children having stuff chopped off of them and being completely altered in terms of their not just visual appearance, but validating sort of this psychological issues it is that a lot of these people have as adults. And they just want that culture validated, which is why they often target sort of children. But 10 years ago, people would have called you crazy. That's the gaslight part of it all. And now we see this stuff existing to an even higher degree than what it's ever had been. And now they're trying to either lie and say that it doesn't exist, or you have the other side just saying that it does exist and it's okay. The whole gender affirming care is a term that they call it, when all it is mutilation. This whole idea, even with the hormonal stuff or the puberty blockers and all that sort of stuff, to act as if that doesn't have any sort of medical or physical consequence. Obviously, that's the reason why you're sort of doing it and everything is just irreversible. Is not true, man. You can give like a steroid to an adult female, certain ones, right? And it will alter their voice, dude. The fact that you, and it's no returning from that, right? And the fact that you think that you can do something like that to a child, right, which is in the age where they have all sorts of, because they're growing, they have all sorts of things happening to their bodies, and you think that there's no sort of medical kickback that is going to have sort of consequences that linger on, even if they decide that this is no more? You're lying. And they know that. Even their own medical doctors who are in on it will at least concede that this stuff has consequences, which is why some people call it medical or chemical castration. So you're wrong in the idea that everything about that is irreversible, but even more so, we know for a fact that it is being done, not just in America, but this stuff is being done, like top surgery, which you would at least have to agree that is irreversible, being done to girls is something that is irreversible. That is not okay. The fact that the children, this is a non-negotiable issue for me, guys, and folks that support this, I will never be on board with what you are doing to children. You don't hear me speak about this topic that much, mainly because if I think you are goofy, that's fine. But as an adult, you reserve the right to be goofy. It is a prerequisite of property rights. That doesn't mean I have to validate everything it is that you believe. That doesn't mean I have to participate in whatever kind of vision it is that you have, even for yourself. I'm not required to do that. Make no mistake. However, as far as your right to do stuff to yourself physically like that is irreversible as an adult, look, that's your right. Okay. Doesn't mean I have to participate in it. I know to these idiots, and this is the narcissism again, part of it, anything short of jiggling and gyrating with these guys, bojangling with these cats at a parade and validating everything and embracing them and everything it is they believe, they consider that hatred, or they consider that a phobia, which would mean you're scared. And no, that's not the case. But on a serious note, you'd have to agree that is something that is fundamental. There are things, guys, with children that we accept. I mean, like drinking, the stuff with like voting and all this other stuff, that you will concede that they do not have the capacity intellectually, emotionally, to make these life-altering sort of decisions. But for whatever reason, on this given topic, we're supposed to accept it, embrace it, advocate it, or it means that you want them dead. It's like, no, the fact that they try to weaponize that is my issue with a lot of these adults who try to target these children with this nonsense. That's my issue with them, because they say, even though the data does not point to this, well, you are, they might do something to themselves, and they're trying to weaponize like depression and them being sad or something. So you have to validate their existence. That's criminal, dude. And maybe that speaks to the actual problem when you talk about dysphoria or dysmorphia or that sort of stuff. That there's a psychological issue that needs to be addressed, okay, that a youngster may be going through. But to think that, well, they feel some kind of way, or worse, which often is what happened, they have outside adult influence that's leaning them to even want this as a youngster. And we're supposed to just go along with it as, again, you chemically castrate people and mutilize their bodies. No. So I'm doubling down. It's not anything groundbreaking. I've made this point many, many times. It's just not up for dispute or debate. Leave the children out of this nonsense. If you enjoyed this video and want to support other content, please become a member at ericdjuly.com. This is my own unique platform that replaced my Patreon. Our Ultramax, which is our highest tier, gets free shipping domestically, even with Rippaverse orders, and are able to redeem the Creators Edition copy of ISOM #1. You can move up and down tiers or cancel at any time. Also visit Rippaverse.com. This is my comic book company that launched a $3.7 million campaign. We appreciate your support.